You spoke, and we listened. Today, we're discussing the pitches that you, the viewers, requested most. Welcome back to Strike Zone. Baseball is a game built on details. A fraction of an inch on a grip, a subtle twist of the wrist, a seam angled just a little differently. And yet, within those tiny adjustments, entire universes of movement are created. In our last video, we explored the foundational pitches, fastballs, sliders, curves, changeups, the bread and butter of modern pitching. But that was only one side of the sports story, because beneath those classics lies a shadowy catalog of lesser-known pitches, bizarre hybrids, and experimental weapons that push the boundaries of what a baseball should be allowed to do. Some of these pitches were born in the gritty sandlots of the early 20th century. Others were engineered in modern pitching labs with more high-speed cameras than a Hollywood action set. Some of them broke the hearts of hitters everywhere. Others broke the elbows of the pitchers who dared to throw them. And a few became legends, whispered about, feared, and often misunderstood. This is Every MLB Pitch Explained, Part 2, a journey into the strange, the forgotten, the newly invented, and the downright physics-defying pitches that make even veteran hitters shake their heads and wonder, what was that? If you've ever watched a pitcher throw something so weird it made you laugh out loud, or a batter take such an awkward swing that it looked like he was swatting a bee, then buckle up. We're going deeper than ever before. Pitch clock's running. Let's get into it. The Forkball, Rise, Fall, and Recent Revival. If the classic splitter is like turning off gravity, the forkball is like slamming that gravity switch twice for good measure. The forkball is one of baseball's greatest tumbling pitches, a relic from eras past that refuses to die quietly. To understand the forkball, imagine gripping the baseball by spreading your index and middle fingers as wide as humanly possible. The ball sinks deeper into your hand than a splitter. It's almost uncomfortable, like holding a doorknob between two chopsticks. Then you throw it with nearly full fastball intent, only to let the ball slip out with that deep grip forcing it to tumble forward violently. In the 1970s and 80s, the forkball was a secret weapon for many pitchers. Hideo Nomo brought his own version to the U.S., a hybrid fork split that seemed to accelerate downward. Jose Contreras later turned American League lineups into confused spectators by sending forkballs that looked hittable until they dropped like someone cut a string. But the forkball is also infamous among pitching coaches. That deep finger spread, combined with the wrist action required to make the ball tumble, puts stress on the forearm flexor mass. It's tiring. It's uncomfortable. Some coaches even ban their younger pitchers from learning it, fearing long-term injuries. So why hasn't it disappeared completely? Because it's too good. Today, Kodai Senga has revived it in spectacular fashion. His ghost fork isn't just a forkball. It's a magic trick. 1 second, hitters think the ball is headed for the middle of the zone. The next second, they're swinging at something that isn't even there anymore. On slow-motion footage, his forkball doesn't just drop, it vanishes, as if pulled by a trapdoor under home plate. Watching Senga throw it is like watching a magician reveal a card that you swore wasn't in the deck. The ghost fork has earned its name honestly. And thanks to his success, young pitchers worldwide are re-examining the once-forbidden forkball. Who knows? We might be living through the beginnings of a quiet forkball renaissance. The Palmball. The palmball is one of baseball's most subtle trick pitches, a slow, disappearing change of pace hidden right in the pitcher's hand. Instead of using the fingertips for spin, the ball is buried deep in the palm, almost smothered. The arm action stays identical to a fastball, but the ball floats out with dramatically reduced velocity, fooling hitters who are geared up for heat. In its heyday, the palmball helped pitchers without elite velocity survive against power hitters. Batters often described it as waiting on a pitch suspended in time. It became a signature weapon for Trevor Hoffman, whose version faded softly armside, arriving so late it forced hitters into awkward, early swings. Today, the palmball is rare, replaced by easier-to-control changeups. But when thrown well, it still embodies a simple truth. Deception doesn't require power. It only requires patience and perfect disguise. The Splinker, the accidental monster. Some pitches are invented with intention. Others are discovered by accident, usually because a pitcher tried to throw one thing and ended up with another. Enter the Splinker. Part splitter, part sinker. Part what even was that? The Splinker starts with a splitter-style grip, with the fingers spread apart, but unlike a true splitter, the pitcher pronates hard at release like a two-seam fastball. This gives the ball not only the vertical drop associated with splitters, but also the arm side run typical of sinkers. To a hitter, the effect is chaos. A pitch that appears to drop while simultaneously sliding sideways. It's like trying to hit a moving escalator. Seth Lugo has become one of the Splinker's best-known modern users. When he releases it perfectly, you can see the confusion on the hitter's face even before the swing ends. They start their swing thinking splitter, but by the time the barrel comes through the zone, the ball is run 5 inches inside and 2 inches down. Lugo himself has even joked that sometimes he isn't sure which category StatCast will place it in. The Splinker isn't as famous as its more classic cousins, and maybe that's part of its charm. It doesn't need fame. It just needs ground balls and awkward swings, and on that front, it delivers. The Gyroball. Myth, mystery, and the truth. Few pitches in baseball history have generated as much mythological hype as the Gyroball. In the mid-2000s, when Daisuke Matsuzaka came to MLB, fan forums across the internet exploded with speculation about his secret weapon, a supposedly magic pitch that curved like a boomerang or dipped like a submarine. The reality? The Gyroball is real, but it doesn't do what fans imagined. It's a pitch that spins like a bullet, a perfect spiral rotation. That spin axis minimizes the Magnus effect, meaning the ball doesn't break dramatically like a slider or curve. So why does it work? Because hitters aren't expecting a pitch with no movement. They expect a fastball to ride and a slider to sweep. The Gyroball tunnels like a fastball, but arrives behaving like a straight, spinning anomaly. It disrupts timing, visual cues, and muscle memory. The Gyroball was invented, literally engineered, in Japan through biomechanical simulations. It aimed to reduce arm stress and create a unique pitch that traveled like a fastball but spun differently. In many ways, the Gyroball is the first pitch designed more by computers than by raw instinct. While few MLB pitchers throw a textbook Gyroball, many modern gyro sliders use similar bullet spin to create tight, late-breaking action. Tyler Glasnow's slider, for instance, often flirts with Gyroball characteristics. Baseball tends to evolve in circles. Sometimes what we once called wild experimentation becomes everyday technique. The slurve. Ah, yes, the good old slurve. The slurve lives in the space between a slider and a curveball, a sweeping hybrid breaking pitch that bends both downward and sideways. Thrown with a curveball grip but a looser, slider-like release, the slurve travels on a long, arcing path that can make hitters chase pitches that started nowhere near the strike zone. Pitchers like Kerry Wood and even Clayton Kershaw have flirted with slurve-like movement, using it to freeze hitters with its sweeping break. It's tricky though. Its wide movement makes it harder to command, and coaches sometimes discourage it for young pitchers who risk muddying the mechanics of their curve and slider. But in today's era of sweepers and big horizontal break, the slurve has found new relevance. It's not quite a slider, not quite a curve, just a big, bold breaker that dares hitters to follow its wandering path. The riser illusion, defiance of gravity. Let's settle this once and for all. No pitch actually rises. Not truly. Gravity remains undefeated. But some pitches act like they rise relative to expectations. That's the riser illusion, created by fastballs with extremely high backspin and efficiency. These fastballs have what analysts call carry or ride. Spencer Strider and Garrett Cole are kings of this illusion. Their fastballs don't magically climb upward. They simply drop far less than a typical fastball should. A hitter expecting normal drop swings under it, giving the impression that the ball actually lifted. From the batter's perspective, it feels supernatural. You take a swing at the middle of the ball, and the bat slices through dead air. Some hitters have even said, "It rose." It didn't, but you can't blame them for feeling that way. In slow motion, the ball looks like it resists physics. It doesn't tumble forward. It spins backwards at thousands of revolutions per minute. That spin creates upward force, not enough to overpower gravity entirely, but enough to make gravity work overtime. The riser illusion is a triumph of modern pitch analytics. Pitchers today aren't just throwing as hard as they can, they're optimizing how they spin the ball, how they angle the seams, and how effectively their fingers transfer energy at release. When the riser works perfectly, hitters walk back to the dugout shaking their heads, wondering if the laws of nature just took the inning off. The ephus, the slowest, funniest weapon in baseball. At the opposite end of the spectrum, the exact opposite of the riser, lives the ephus pitch, baseball's equivalent of a practical joke. It's the pitch that whispers, "Speed is optional," and then proceeds to float toward the plate at the pace of a gentle summer breeze. The ephus is thrown with a big arc, sometimes as high as 20 or 30 feet off the ground, depending on the pitcher's flair for the dramatic. It can be 40 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, or in Brock Holt's case, a hilarious 31 miles per hour. Watching an ephus on television is delightful. Watching a batter completely mistime it is even better. Hitters often hate the ephus because it undermines their carefully calibrated timing. They spend all game adjusting to pitch speeds between 85 and 100 miles per hour, only for someone to lob them a ball better suited for a carnival booth. If thrown with good deception, the ephus can make a hitter swing a full second too early and almost fall over. Zach Greinke has embraced it as part of his identity. Every once in a while, right when the hitter least expects it, he stops time. A gentle lob arcs into the sky. The crowd gasps. The batter panics, and more often than you'd think, the pitch lands softly in the zone for a strike. It's not about power, it's about being unpredictable. The ephus is a reminder that baseball still has a sense of humor. The shuto, Japanese precision meets MLB. To understand the shuto, you have to understand Japanese pitching philosophy, movement, deception, and artistry for its own sake. The shuto is a pitch that moves sharply inside on same-handed hitters, almost like a reverse slider, but thrown with fastball intent. In Japan, the shuto is thrown with a deeper grip and heavy inward pronation, causing the ball to run arm side with late force. Pitchers like Masahi Hiramatsu made the shuto iconic, using it as a weapon of precision. Hiramatsu's shuto was so sharp that it would break bats if hitters dared to swing at it. When Japanese pitchers bring the shuto to MLB, it often gets mislabeled. Broadcasters sometimes call it a sinker, sometimes a running fastball, sometimes even a changeup. But the shuto is its own species of pitch, a unique blend of movement and deception that thrives on late, violent arm-side action. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, one of Japan's finest modern pitchers, regularly blurs the line between shuto movement and traditional sinker action. His command allows him to place the pitch where he wants it, usually under the hands of hitters who suddenly feel like they've been jammed by a pitch that defied their predictions. Like the forkball and gyro slider, the shuto represents cross-cultural knowledge blending into MLB. Baseball is truly global, and its pitches are becoming global too. Pitch Design Deep Dive, the science of movement. Let's step into the modern pitching lab, a place filled with high-speed cameras, motion capture rigs, and pitchers tinkering like mad scientists. Today's teams track every millisecond of arm movement and every millimeter of ball motion. Pitchers no longer just throw, they design. They craft pitches the way engineers build prototypes. They study spin rate, spin direction, seam-shifted wake, and release extension. They refine their grips until the ball's movement profile matches exactly what they need. Seam-shifted wake, for example, is a relatively new discovery that explains how off-center airflow around the ball can create movement that doesn't match the spin direction. This has allowed pitchers to design sinker-like movement on pitches that don't actually spin like traditional sinkers. Then there's spin efficiency, the percentage of spin that translate into movement rather than wasted rotation. High-efficiency backspin creates the illusion of a riser. Low-efficiency bullet spin creates the gyroball. The margins are tiny, but the results can be enormous. Pitchers today create new shapes, more drop, more sweep, more run. They don't accept the physics of a standard fastball. They question it, challenge it, and then reshape it. In the era of pitch design, innovation thrives. The Splinker exists because pitchers experimented. The modern sweeper exists because pitchers explored new slider grips. And somewhere, in some bullpen, a young pitcher is designing the next pitch we'll all be talking about in a few years. Modern pitchers to watch. Kodai Senga continues to mystify hitters with his ghost fork. His ability to pair that pitch with a fastball that sneers with rising backspin makes him one of the most dangerous multi-dimensional pitchers in baseball. Seth Lugo quietly dominates with his Splinker and gyro slider combinations, creating confusion and weak contact with the precision of a surgeon. Spencer Strider brings raw power married to high-tech efficiency. His four-seam fastball behaves like it's double-parked, rushing through the zone with too much urgency for hitters to catch. Garrett Cole represents the modern pitching prototype: elite spin, optimized delivery, and command that turns high-spin heaters into strategic weapons. Zach Greinke remains the elder statesman of unpredictability. His ephus and clever sequencing remind us that velocity is optional, but intelligence is not. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto continues the tradition of Japanese artistry on the mound, fusing classic grips with modern training to craft some of the most fascinating movement profiles in baseball today. These pitchers aren't just competitors, they're innovators. Hitters versus weird pitches, the psychological war. Hitting is already one of the hardest things in sports. Add weird pitches, and it becomes a psychological gauntlet. Hitters rely on patterns, what pitchers throw in certain counts, how the ball spins out of the hand, what the shape of the pitch looks like at release. But when you throw in pitches like the Gyroball or shuto, those patterns crumble. A hitter expects a riser-like fastball to behave normally, but when the ball doesn't drop as expected, the swing is mistimed. A batter expects a splitter to drop straight down, but the Splinker runs inside like a sinker. A hitter anticipates 90 miles per hour, then gets a 50-mile-per-hour ephus that plays tricks on his internal clock like a broken metronome. When hitters face these pitches, the mental game becomes as important as the physical one. They start guessing, they freeze, they cheat their mechanics, and in that hesitation, the pitcher wins. Risks, mechanics, and why these pitches are rare. If these pitches are so effective, why doesn't everyone throw them? Because every pitch comes with a price. The forkball puts stress on the fingers and forearm. Overuse can lead to fatigue or worse. The gyroball's unusual spin mechanics demand exceptional wrist and forearm control. The shuto requires precise pronation to avoid over-torquing the elbow. Even the ephus, harmless as it may seem, can only be thrown rarely to maintain its element of surprise. Otherwise, hitters adjust. Pitchers must choose their weapons carefully. In a league filled with power hitters and long seasons, not every pitcher can afford to risk injury for experimental pitches, even if those pitches are devastating when thrown correctly. 7th inning stretch fun facts. And now for the stretch break. Did you know the slowest pitch ever recorded by StatCast was thrown by a position player who probably thought he was just lobbing a ball to a friend at a barbecue? Brock Holt's 31-mile-per-hour offering floated so high and slow that even children watching at home thought they could catch it. Or that the Gyroball was originally discovered through computer modeling before any human had mastered it? Or that Japanese batters used to call the forkball a ghost pitch long before Senga made it famous again. Baseball is full of weirdness. That's why we love it. The future of pitching. So what comes next? Maybe more hybrid pitches. Maybe a return of old-school grips refined by new technology. Maybe someone discovers a way to throw a legal pitch that behaves like a true riser. Maybe the ephus becomes mainstream again in an era obsessed with velocity. One thing is certain, though. Pitchers will keep experimenting. The mound will always be a place of creativity, curiosity, and chaos. And there you have it. The outsider pitches, the experimental weapons, the old-school legends, and the physics-defying mysteries of the game. Baseball has always been a dance between power and trickery, between the expected and the unexpected. And as long as pitchers keep pushing boundaries, hitters will keep adjusting, batters will keep guessing, and fans will keep watching in disbelief. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strange side of pitching, hit that subscribe button like you're swinging at a ghost fork, ring the bell so you never miss an episode, and drop a comment telling us which pitch you want to see explored next. Because baseball never sleeps. And at Strike Zone, neither do we.